What is your advice for couples who need to strike that balance, or when one person ends up planning the entire trip? What's your advice for that?
So my hot take in this area is that it's okay to have solo time when you're traveling as a couple. I think a lot of people are afraid to, they're like, it's a honeymoon. This is a romantic getaway. We should be together the whole time. And you don't have to. Like you don't, I wouldn't say take maybe the full day apart, but for example, I've had my partner and I do this, but I've also had couples who do this. I'm an early riser, so I like to be up. I'm jet lagged. I'm up at 4 or 5 in the morning, and I will get up and go wander the city on my own, explore, get photos, get coffee, come back, and my partner's still asleep, and he wakes up around 10, and then we get up and do things together, and like that's okay. We've discussed this, we've done this several times, and we've realized like this is the way we like to travel. For other couples, maybe it's one partner really loves to shop and wants to go to the markets in the afternoon, or we set up an experience for them to be able to have a private designer to take, like a private shopper, take them around. And then the other partner wants to go to a museum for the afternoon. And like we kind of schedule that in so that they both have an experience around the same time. And then they meet up for dinner. So I think it's okay for couples to not want to do the same things and want a little bit different of an experience. And we, like, as a travel designer, I'm able to build that in for them and help them, kind of like what you said earlier. It's like therapy and coaching at the same time. Like you're helping them know that that's okay. And that process happens all the time because not everyone travels the same. In terms of one partner traveling over the other, plug here, work with a travel designer, work with the travel advisor, because that way, not one partner is feeling like the whole trip is on them. I've had a couple who that happened where she was doing all the planning and she just realized like it was too much and she was feeling pressure to make the experience amazing for him and her, and that pressure was just getting to her. So they hired me on, and then when they came back from the trip, they were like, this was just the best experience because we both felt like we were getting what we wanted, and neither of us came back feeling like, oh, you didn't book this for me, why didn't you put this in, or why did we have to do this. It was a very collaborative experience, and it was a very shared experience for them where neither felt the pressure to manage it all.
Yeah, that's such a good point. I feel like you're almost that third party buffer between the two of them. So it's not like, oh, you picked this, like, why? Or you picked this and it was great, but or as the partner who picked it, I know for me, my husband handles accommodation, I handle excursions, so we blend well together. But on the excursion piece, that's like a heavy responsibility. We know this as advisors, and I'll just be kind of like looking over, like, oh, are you happy? Is this fun? Are you having fun?
You
Going on,
feel the pressure of like making it good for
right?
them too, and it's a lot of
Right.
pressure.
It is, and then that way, yeah, like you mentioned, it is almost like a therapy slash coach slash, like, education on the travel options that you have, but the solo time is so important. My husband and I, we've traveled abroad for, a year at a time, and towards the end of it, I'm like, "I'm gonna go get a massage. Do you have" it's in Bali, like, "Do you have $20 for cash for me to go get a massage?" He's like, "Here's 40, go get a 2-hour massage." Like, go spend the whole day. Is it a day spa? Do you wanna go spend the whole day? It's important to like make sure you have those parts of yourself that are separate. And who knows, you can meet someone at the yoga studio that you never would have met had you just hung back with your husband. And then they had great recommendations for you to go do something that is completely different. So I think that's a really great piece, especially when you're going on honeymoons that are 5+ days long. If you're not spending all day with each other at home, what makes you think you're gonna be like happy to spend all day with each other? Either way, you need some space.
Especially with honeymoons is I find couples are just they're burnt out from the wedding planning, especially if they do a honeymoon right after the wedding, which I have
Right.
found a trend actually going the last couple of years is more and more couples are waiting to have their honeymoon. So I've actually had 3 couples recently that I've chatted with who are doing a 1-year anniversary trip. They didn't do a honeymoon. They are waited to do a 1-year anniversary slash honeymoon trip. And it is because that pressure. They've already invested so much in the wedding. They spent so much time. They've been around family. They're tired. The idea of trying to plan a 2, 3 weeks to Europe or wherever they're wanting to go for their honeymoon is a lot. And so taking a pause and waiting is one way to do it. But either way, if you're doing your honeymoon right after the wedding, you're exhausted, and having a little solo
Yeah.
time might be nice. Just going to get a massage.